Okay, the weekend's over, so by now I think most people have seen the movie. For the record, I watched both versions, dub and sub, because that's how much I loved it. Also, I only watched the anime and do not read manga. Unfortunately, there weren't any memers that could have done the whole type shit. One or two would have been great. So if you don't know, the movie's adapted from 15 chapters from the manga, I believe. IMO, we should look at it as a Rengoku movie because it essentially tells us his story. For most movies, the introduction and setup makes me so drowsy, and that makes it kind of cool in the sense that I almost fell asleep when the main characters did from Enmu's spell, and then I fully woke the same time that Tanjiro did in the film. Tanjiro's soul was so beautiful, like that artwork, and those little incarnations or whatever pointed at the sun when the demon asked why they brought him straight to the core. They pointed at the sun, which is the weakness of demons. Like, I think that alludes to maybe a future power? That's how he's gonna vanquish demons? I don't know. I think that's how it's gonna happen. We got to see Chibi Nezuko. It's cool because we don't see much of her in that form on the show. I forget why they almost always distinguish movies from the show with 3D CGI. Like, it just looks bad. I don't know if... Does anyone like that? If you do like it, why? Like, let me know in the comments. It just doesn't fit right, you know? Another thing I want to ask you is the concept of an infinite train. Is that like some kind of folklore? Because I repeatedly see it in anime, like Digimon used it in a movie. I think it was called Runaway Locomon. And then the other one I remember is Mob Psycho used it for a few of the episodes near the end. But yeah, let me know. The scene where they found the neck or head of Enmu, where Inosuke and Tanjiro was trying to chop it off, I straight up thought Attack on Titan. Like, they should have tagged Levi in and just saved us all some time. He would have guillotined Enmu so fast. One thing I didn't notice the first watch through was that lesser demon, Enmu, foreshadowed Rengoku's death in saying that the upper ranks of Muzan's demons, they've never changed, meaning they haven't died. So like at the same time, he's also saying that they've killed Hashiras before. It wouldn't indicate anything new if Rengoku died here. Also, Tanjiro said it was almost dawn when the train crashed and everything. So part of Rengoku's character flaw that contributed to his death was his desire to extinguish Akaza immediately instead of like maybe you could escape and regroup after the sunrise. If Tanjiro noticed, Rengoku's a freaking Hashira, like he must have known that he could have just waited till the sun came up. I don't know, that's just something I think about. And then Akaza's arrival itself, like the moment I saw him, I was like, this bitch is a top 3 Hisoka looking motherfucker, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know why. Is it just the pink hair? And then fucking muscles and fighting? Like, reminded me of Hisoka immediately. What else? The music soundtrack is amazing. Like, the accompaniment complemented the movie so perfectly. If you watch the movie again, the Akaza versus Rengoku fight was so hype. I don't even know if that can be topped ever again. I know I'm overhyping it, but that's just me. Another thing I liked was that the audience shares a point of view with Tanjiro, basically, in this second part. Like, this felt intentional. As the viewer, we're going on this hero's journey with Tanjiro from start to finish in the whole series, Demon Slayer. And then even after this movie with the season 2 coming, this aspect was done really well. That one point when the sun was actually rising, I was so worried that Tanjiro was grabbing his sword. That scene would signal like his fault or involvement in Rengoku's death. Like, I see some people talk about like that kind of triggered Akaza to like pull out his arms that way, but he could have done that the entire time. Like, he was gonna do that anyway, so I don't consider that like an actual involvement on Tanjiro or Inosuke's part. But dude, I was rooting for Rengoku so hard, but I knew what was coming, like the signs and everything. And then after everything was said and done, when Tanjiro threw his sword with his fire skill, by the way, it was a little funny when Akaza was like getting pissed off, but after he threw the sword, I think that's another foreshadowing that in the end, Tanjiro is going to somehow use the power of the sun as his ultimate ability in getting rid of the demons. I also see people talking about Nezuko and Zenitsu dropped off the face of the earth after the first half. but that must have just been how like the story was written. But it's also kind of hard to write in these two characters specifically without taking away from the focused action that they wanted us to see. There's already so much between just Inosuke, Tanjiro, Rengoku, and Akaza. Oh, and the final sequence of Rengoku's life, mother, flashback, almost everyone in my theater was crying. Like, you can hear the sniffles and tears. This is for the sub showing, by the way. I didn't see that same energy in the dub showing, but I'll talk more on that later. And this goes back to me interpreting this as us being in the movie, seeing it as Inosuke and Tanjiro's point of view. It's so fitting that we and the characters likewise react to practically everything the same. Like, everyone in the movie theater was tearing up, and then you see on screen, the main characters are tearing up with us. The movie did a perfect job of contrasting lower demons versus higher demons directly as well. Or I guess I should say the manga too, right? Because it is a straightforward adaptation. Like, power levels is one element I don't think people consider as much when watching anime. But boy, did they show us the difference between Enmu and Akaza. Like, it is a stark difference in contrast. The crow crying was also a nice touch. Again, the music masterpiece and transitions convey the feeling so well. And the ending, I think, is Lisa's Homura. I think that song is up there in top sad songs with the one that goes like something I thought of, well, obviously they won't do this, but can you imagine if they made a movie for every major Hashira or upper demon fight death? Like, a movie every time? I'm watching it. I'm watching every single one of those. If like Mugen Train is the bar that they're setting for these type of movies, bruh. Okay, comparing dub to sub, because I did watch both. For the record, I'm a subtitle watcher. I like subs better, but I'm sure you can find things to complain about either way about subs if you're a dub watcher. I think the Zenitsu scenes were good in dub, which is, I guess, based on how I associate dub with goofiness, and his character matches that energy. I liked Enmu's English voice actor and the way he portrayed the voice, kind of like Light Yagami from Death Note. It has like a manic, evil type of vibe, if you know what I mean. And the way, oh my god, the way Rengoku says tasty as opposed to umai, it just sounded so wrong. Some scenes I feel like the English voice actor put almost too much emotion into their acting as opposed to the Japanese voices, if that makes sense. I was down to cry a second time in the English dub showing too, because of, you know, I just couldn't. The whole vibe of the dub theater, it was just completely different than the sub. And I think that's it. How did you like the movie? Leave a comment and let's talk about it. I for one loved it. Like, it's a goated anime movie on my list. Demon Slayer might be top 5, top 10, top 5 anime after this. I think so for me. But if you fuck with anime and gaming, please like and subscribe, because that's what I'm mainly trying to do. And I hope to see you next time.